that's it for EA Play. They're still going, but they're doing a Nintendo Treehouse type of thing of the stream doesn't finish. We're going to show off as much as possible. So the actual conference thing itself is now over. And my overall thoughts on that conference is... That's my thoughts on it. That's not just me sort of trying to think of something. My genuine thoughts for it is just... I think the thing to do is to go through the conference in proper form, in chronological order, and seeing what they actually did. And it's going to be pretty easy. Best example, that is my entire notes. The entire conference, 90 minutes. And for a comparison, let's see, EA's previous one should be in here somewhere. Here we go. This is, that's that one. That's Nintendo's. That's something else. Yeah, the best example is that this is the notes for last year's Sony conference is that page, plus that page. Is it that one as well? Is it that one as well? It's Resident Evil Revelations 2. No, that's Nintendo, because that's DS. Yeah, so it's 2 pages of very solid notes, lots of annotations. In this year's one, nothing. Basically bullet points. That is how much they actually said, or at least how much is actually new. That is the big problem with EA at the moment. EA is going, look how innovative we are. And it's going, this shit has been around since the PS2. It's, again, let's just go through this in chronological order, and then you can work, and then I'll explain. They opened up with, as you would expect, sports. Specifically Madden, with Madden's long shot. Basically, The Journey Madden. The Journey must have been so fucking popular, because it's down to a point where they opened it up with Madden's version of The Journey, and then closed, well, kind of closed. They closed the core segment before they went into a whole Battlefield 2 bit. They closed the sort of the main section before Battlefield 2 with NBA The Journey. So it's The Journey must have been really, really fucking popular because they've now stuck it in Madden and NBA, because that is basically what it is. It's a single-player story campaign over a story-led character. It's not like a creative character career mode, because that's a creative. Because the character is pre-created. It's kind of like what was his name? Alex Hunter. And the other one, they had this whole fucking montage thing and going, oh look of all the football people talking about Alex Hunter. It's so real. The only thing that comes to go through my mind every single time they go on that is because I talked about Final Fantasy Spirits Within a long while ago. The one thing that they tried to push with that movie, when that movie originally came out, was the idea of digital actors. It's basically actors creating, or basically this tech group, this tech organization creating actors for CG animated movies. So you have someone who does a voice, but then it's a collection of characters that are in separate movies. Like Aki was supposed to be a character that Square Enix created that was going to be in loads of other movies, but it didn't work because it was expensive, and everyone thought it was weird. Generally, I quite like the concept, because it's basically motion capture. And Andy Serkis has basically made a career out of doing just that. But it is motion capture. And while I like the idea of digital actors, the idea of digital actors is just motion capture. So, but that is me digressing. And there's really bugger all to say about the long shot thing. It really is just The Journey, but for Madden. Then came Battlefield 1. With them going, we are having this revolution! We are having a revolution of Battlefield 1! We are revolutionizing Battlefield 1 by adding the Russians. Oh ho! Did you see what we did there? For those who know history, they know that during World War I, during the early part of the 1900s, was the first Russian Revolution against the Tsars. Hence the reason why it's called The Rise of the Tsar. Because basically Russia went into World War I with a Tsar and then left it without one. You see where the timing of the revolution, where the wording of revolution comes from. It's basically the Russian Revolution. But I really do swear Russia pulled out of World War I because of the revolution. because the people were tired of the war and tired of the monarchical sort of bollocks that was going along with it. Basically, the whole bullcrap thing that was going on with our Queen and Kaiser Wilhelm at the time. So they got kind of bullshitty. The people revolted against the Tsars, killed the Tsars, kicked out the Tsars, and I thought they left World War One because of it, because they were tired of war. So having them be, look, these people are coming into World War One. It's like, isn't it arse about face? Because this whole revolution thing was them getting rid of the Tsars. So it should be the Russian... I have no idea. My recollection of history may not be that perfect, but even I can tell there's something a bit pissy about the entire bleeding thing, which is just... it's... They try to push the whole thing off. Look how amazing it is. Look how new things are. We have women! Women characters. When largely no one cared. Well, people did care, but largely it's a fucking online shooter. I hardly think it matters. I'm one of the people who don't really care, because I usually see sort of enemy characters in a first-person shooter as fleshy objects to shoot rather than a human being, because otherwise you start feeling guilty. So, I just see it's the whole thing of, look, we have women in it. It's like, yeah, I largely don't care. The same reason why I don't really give a shit if it's like I'm shooting robots or shooting humans. I don't care. It's just a thing to shoot at. I don't really give a shit. It's a thing. It's a very interesting part of history, because the whole women in World War One thing is an actual thing. Hence the reason why the whole Russian thing... Hence, this is probably the reason why they decided to include this with the Russian thing, and why I'm not entirely sure if this was a purposeful addition that was previously considered, or something they're adding as part of it. Because the actual historical thing of this is the... God, my spelling is terrible. The Brethren... The Women's Brethren of Death? No, Battalion. Ah, there we go. Yeah, it's the Women's Battalion of Death, which actually was a entirely female division of the Russian military during World War One. That's an actual thing. Russia did it before basically most of the West. Proves how much of a dick most of the West is. But apart from that, it's DLC. It's, look, we have new maps. We're revolutionizing everything with night maps. Okay, yeah, you're just having maps in the dark. Ta-da! And that ends up becoming a theme, saying, look how brand spankingly new this thing is. It's just a map in the dark. That was just the beginning. That was just the beginning. Then they spent a whole time talking about esports and how you can get new people coming into esports. But there was one tweet that went around. I think it was Rami. I'll try and find it and annotate it in the video. Otherwise, I think I retweeted it or replied it. I think I replied to it, and it was basically a tweet along the lines of, it's kind of bad that there's this mentality now of basically this big push to try and you become E-famous. Becoming is like being E-famous. Becoming this E-famous person is now a career path. New E-fame, extremely fickle. Ask YouTubers who are famous like 6 years ago. It's an extremely fickle industry. It's basically, it's being E-famous is being famous. It's not. There's not really much difference. It's you're famous as long as you have the work. As soon as the work dries up, you're done. You retire, and unless you've made a bank to really retire on, that's that. Hence the reason why the E-famous pool of people is not as big as you think it is. There ended up being this big Twitter conversation thing that I saw between between Jared, Jeff, Space Hamster, and I can never pronounce her name. Tamayashi Hirioka. Someone talks about Pokemon. It's Tamayashi. I can never pronounce that name right. Tamayashi Hirioka. It's basically Tammy, Jeff, and Jared having this whole thing about iJustine, because iJustine was one of the commentators for the Battlefield thing at the end, and people, and then I think I was one of the ones that go in as well that started saying, it's like, iJustine, Jesus Christ, they're really pushing the YouTuber angle on this one, and it goes like, but it's iJustine. It feels very bad that you're not questioning the other two men. It's like, no, they're esports commentators. It's the fact that it's like they're bringing in the pool of YouTube presenters. It's very small. and it's kind of irritating, because there are people out there who are very good at presenting, but it's just the same people get hired over and 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 over again, and it's kind of pissy. It's, yeah, the pool of being E-famous is not as big or as deep or as financially viable as people think. Yeah, if you start thinking, I'm gonna be a PewDiePie or I'm gonna be Pro Syndicate, then basically the thing that you're saying is, I'm gonna be broke for several years. And that can come from experience. And then they spent a lot of time talking about FIFA and brought on YouTubers. More YouTubers! The Men in Blazers. Fuck knows what that is. I don't give a shit about football. I don't give a shit about FIFA. But they brought in these two guys from, I'm guessing, a web series called Men in Blazers, where they talk about football and basically all FIFA things from video games, actual football things. It seems like they had like actual football people on there, as well as like football lovers from America and things like Will Farrell, who owns a part of a team in the UK, I think. Something along those lines. Yeah, and then they spent a whole lot of time talking about the channel, making a lot of Britishisms, which was fucking hilarious, because this is in Los Angeles, and the audience is going to be largely American, and they're making a big crack around Britishisms in football, like the Premier League and things like that, and it's like, how many people in the audience got those? I am kind of more fascinated to see how many people actually got those jokes, because it's basically making British jokes to an American audience. It would be hilarious to see how well that actually went down. And a couple of times the audience was like, because you can tell they just didn't get it. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. And then they went this whole big thing about the Journey 2, or, well, it's kind of the journey for FIFA 18. I'm basically calling it the Journey 2. That's basically what it is. It's, you have to have the other game for it to fucking continue on. So it's basically the story campaign continues in the sequel. So I might as well just call it the Journey 2. It might be called the Journey 2. That's when buffering problems started slowing down, so I think it was about every now and then I would miss like 5 seconds as it would just rebuff and jump. So if it was called the Journey 2, then fine. Sorry, that was me. It's just buffering kind of made me miss a bit. And then came Need for Speed Payback, and my intrigue began. This is the point of the stream when I became intrigued in what the fuck was going on. Because you have Need for Speed Payback. I'm a big fan of Need for Speed. I think the last major one I played was Need for Speed The Run, which I really liked. I liked that one. That was fun. But I also have a long history with Need for Speed. I've been playing it since like the Need for Speed 2 Special Edition. That one I had on the Windows 98 PC. I had that one on the... Is it on the 98 or the 95? It was one of those ones. And I got that one, and that was fun. Driving around in the Ferrari F50 and the McLaren F1. And my love for Lamborghinis began with their 4-wheel drive. But yeah, it looks sweet. It looks great. It looks like Fast and Furious, so it looks fucking great. It looks fun. If they really do seem like they're copying a bunch from Fast and Furious, which is a bit for a Need for Speed game, considering they are almost the progenitor for this kind of thing, for the bombastic thing. If you go back to things like Hot Pursuit back on the PS2, or the Underground games on the PS2, they are almost the progenitor for this thing. They were Fast and the Furious at the same time as Fast and the Furious, and then they decided to become like this arcade sim, which was quite the departure. It's part of the reason why sort of some of my most favourite one is basically a tie between Underground 2 and The Run, because they're both kind of arcadey, but also a bit bombastic, a bit fun with it as well. So yeah, Need for Speed Payback looks great, looks fun. It's a shame they're probably not going to advertise it that much. It's because it's Need for Speed, it's not going to get that much. I'm not entirely sure how much advertisement this is going to get, because they've been making Need for Speed games for a while, and if you think of the amount of hype that went round for the thing that came after it, yeah. Then there was a big speech about the EA originals and the EA, whatever the fuck it is, EA Vault, EA EA Play, their online distribution, it's like Origin, the Vault, and whatever the fuck is on the Xbox, are going to be free for a week. Hence, free for a week. You can play basically most of the games in EA's catalogue, or a very vast selection in their catalogue, for a week. None of the games that are in this event are going to be out in a week. You're going to be playing stuff that's out now, like Battlefield 1, not 2, or Need for Speed The Run, not Payback. It's basically you get to try out the service and see if you like it, but yeah, it's basically just a distribution service. So on the PC I have Origin, and I am a big fan of their on the house system, because I got stuff like the original Syndicate through that, and that is very good. One of the retro games of awesomeness. So yeah, I like Origin, but yeah, for their subscription services, unless you buy a shit ton of EA games, it's not worth it. They can have a free demo on it or not. It's not. I don't think. It's basically the thing to think of. Even without doing the demo, is: do you play a lot of EA games? Do you play not Need for Speed, FIFA, Madden, Battlefront? Do you play a shit ton of those? If you do, it's probably worth it. If not, probably not. It's the free demo, free for a week or not. The question more comes down to, are you actually going to use it? It is a subscription service. Pay in what you think you'll get out. If you think you'll get bugger all or very little, then don't bother. It's kind of what normal things go on, really. So, free or not, yeah, it's going to be free for a week, so you can try it out. Hardly think it matters, really. I think you're going to make your mind up around paying into their subscription service pretty quickly. Then started coming the things that were actually fun. This is another one that I really, really liked. A Way Out by Hazelight Studios. It seems like Hazelight Studios is a new thing, because their Twitter thing only had like 2 tweets, and it was about EA Play. So, yeah, it's A Way Out. Looks awesome. Looks fucking great. It is a co-op prison break style game. It's basically it's you and a friend are in prison, and you must collude and slowly dig your way out, or basically break your way out of prison and run the fuck away. And it's all about you, not just the process of getting out of the prison, but getting the fuck away and hiding out from the cops and getting away from the cops. It looks awesome. This looks like a game I would love to play with someone. But it is split screen only. For some fucking reason, it is split screen only. Then came the beginning of Xbox Scorpio, and the level of caring diminished extremely quickly from this point onwards. First I talked about the Xbox Scorpio going, look how fancy these graphics are! And the thought that goes through my mind is, I'm having trouble buffering, so everything looks pixely as fuck! It's like, I don't care! I can barely see it anyway! So, having that big thing going, look, Xbox Scorpio, it's so amazing! It's me going, look, I don't care! Oh, look, it's all in 4K! I don't give a shit. I prefer a game that's not shit to 4K, please. Kind of an obvious point, but I would prefer a game that just isn't shit. I don't really care. It's the thing that I always say is one of the best-selling games of all time is Minecraft, a game that is designed out of 10 pixel by 10 pixel graphics. All of its textures, all of its base textures are 10 pixels by 10 pixels. And it's one of the best-selling games of all time. The best-selling game of all time is fucking Tetris. Fucking hell. It's the push for 4K and the push for extreme graphics, yes, that is going to happen. But building a system entirely about 4K is fucking mad. Just say it. Just say why you wanted to do it. You wanted to do it because you want to do VR. You've even said you're doing Microsoft VR. Just admit that the Scorpio is entirely for VR because the Xbox One can't do VR. Most PCs can't do VR, hence the reason why Oculus sells them £500? £500? It's... Just say you're doing it for VR. No one can give a shit if it's 4K. I don't think many people give a shit about it. It's 4K. You have to get a 4K monitor as well. They're fucking expensive and all. No, Jesus Christ, the push for graphics. This is the exact same thing as what happened with HD. It's a slow and it's a slow and eventual increase and introduction to it. It's not like everyone must get 4K. It's like, yeah, eventually everyone will get 4K. Eventually everyone will get that resolution. At the moment, no one cares. And then came the next BioWare IP, Anthem. And then it went. See, this was stupid. Because they might as well just not mentioned it. This ties into the Xbox Scorpio thing, because they went, look at the Xbox Scorpio, it's so fancy. Look at this next BioWare game on the Xbox One. And they showed, 5 shots, and then went, more will be shown of the Xbox thing tomorrow. And that was it. That was it. It's basically like, look at the new BioWare IP. We'll show it tomorrow. You might as well just not saying anything. You might as well just said something going, Will is going, and you will get to see the next BioWare IP in all 4K tomorrow. No. Rather than just going, look at the thing, and there it goes. That was dumb. That was pointless. Bad EA. Don't do pointless things. This entire thing was wasting... A lot of this was just wasting time, a lot of it. It's like, we need to fill 90 minutes. Let's just throw fucking everything we have in there. But we already said we could do it for Xbox. Fuck it, throw it in anyway. Then came the NBA games, and I got my first beer. The tradition of me slowly getting more and more drunk during these conferences began with NBA and the introduction of NBA The Journey. Basically, it's the NBA Live 18. Whatever the fuck, they had a whole big thing going, oh look, you can play online with all these different players of all of these different skill levels. And it's like, yeah, I thought that was the point. Is that like party matches? It's, again, saying, look how innovative this is. It's like, yeah, it's party games or party invited games. Couldn't people already do that? How the fuck is this innovation? Fucking hell. And then that mentality continued on to Starfront, Battlefront 2, with basically Star Wars Battlefront 2. And I mean that as it's basically Star Wars Battlefront 2 from the PS2, but with modern graphics. Because they had a big play demo thing for it in the Episode 1 universe with droids and Darth Maul, and then May, whatever the fuck, from the new movie. Rey, there we go. So it's something. And then Rey from the new trilogy appeared and then died pretty quickly. That was funny. It's like, oh look, I'm here. That was funny. That was really funny. Then the plane crashes have gone like, I will take down this plane. That was fun as well. But yeah, they spent so much goddamn time saying, look at... It's like, the best example is, look, we have character classes. Fucking really, they pushed that as innovation, saying, look, these different classes have different abilities and weapons. It's like, where the fuck have you been? Good fucking Christ, where the fuck have you been for the last, 8 years? Jesus Christ, that shit was on the PS2, for God's sake, you fucking cockholes! And then they started pushing as well. Basically, and also, one of the words that came out of one of the commentators' mouth, because it had iJustine and 2 other esports commentators talking about the whole thing, going, look, it's so great. And then one of them actually pulled out the line saying, it's so great. It's like coming to take a moment to see how great it is, see the fact that you can play as a droid. And I went, You could in the fucking original one, you bastard. Jesus Christ, you really have just, like, purged every single thought, every single memory from the original Battlefront franchise. Just purged all of them out of your memory because you're going, look, you can play as Darth Maul. It's like, you can already play as many of the Jedis in the previous games, even the one before, just not as, like, fucking Darth Maul. And they're going, look, you can play as droids. It's like, you could play as them in Battlefront 2 on the PS2 from, like, 6 years ago? It's like, oh, look, it's so fancy. It's like, it's the old one. It's like, oh, look, you have Galactic Conquest mode. It's like, it's from the old one. Skirmish mode. It's from the old one. Hence the reason why I say, this is Battlefront 2 being Battlefront 2. This is Battlefront 2 being, this is the PS2 version. And the biggest innovation of it all from the entire thing was a story campaign. Fucking hell! Seriously, when the fuck did this shit become innovation? For fuck's sake, EA, can you please stop being so stupid? The reason why this is innovation to you is because you cut it out. God, they spent like fucking 20 minutes going, look how innovative this game is. It's like, this is the shit you cut out the first one from a game that came out 6 years ago. Look, it's a single-player campaign. Fucking really? When the fuck did that become innovation? Oh, look, we have classes. Fucking really? The games you are competing against. A game you also publish. Battlefield has class. When the fuck did that become innovation? EA, I am very disappointed in you, because you are now being really... you have lost all self-awareness. Seriously, you have lost all self-awareness. You have taken I think the one thing you are most concerned about, and the one thing you have been most concerned about, especially from the press releases that I've been getting from you recently, the one big thing you've been concerned about is that being called the worst company in America for 2 years in a row, that has hit you harder than basically anything else. Because all of this, the push for the YouTubers, the push for the online creators, are saying, oh, look, YouTubers, we like you. And the push and the fact that you've really tried just throwing in stuff from the old games shows that you just want to be liked. You just want to be liked. Because all of this shit is the stuff you cut out. All of this stuff is the problems you made, and now you're trying to rectify them because you realised it was a dumb idea. And to be clear, I'm not against any of this. Frankly, even the thing I was putting on Twitter is about fucking time. It's like them saying, we have a single-player campaign. It's like, yeah, about fucking time. That was one thing I wanted. It's fucking amazing you have that in, but it's amazing the fact that you cut the bloody thing out in the first place. It's a single-player... even the second one was, like, using the multiplayer maps. For God's sake. So, it's just sheer... It's almost like you have just realised the absolute apathy that everyone thinks you have, and you've just realised that going, hang on, people don't like when we're just rather apathetic and go like, we're releasing this, why? Just 'cause. And people have just realised all of that shit, and you have... it's basically the word that sums up this entire conflict is about fucking time. Because that is basically everything. It's just about fucking time. We've included the Russians in a Battlefield 1 game from World War 1. It's like, really? You used to make World War 2 games. That included the Russians. This is fucking new? It's like, we've added a story mode campaign to Battlefront. It's going, yeah, you did. You had in both of the original ones. There was one in the original ones. It's like we've added a single player campaign to all of the sports games. It's like, but didn't you already have career mode? But hence the reason why my words for this is generally just. Let's have a quick look, see what they're actually talking about now. Oh, they're talking about Battlefront 1. Yeah, okay, fuck it. They're done with that now. Fuck off. I'm just closing that now. as I had a quick glance over to because at the moment on the PC is the monitor for the camera, but then behind it was the EA Play Continuum Stream, whatever the fuck they're doing afterwards. And it's just kind of like, well, I wonder what they're doing now. And it's like, the first thing I saw was the Battlefield 1 multiplayer map. It was like, okay, bored now, close. There was one question that people started rising up, and one question that very swiftly came up. The first one was, is that fucking it? Because they just transferred from Battlefront 2 to Galaxy Heroes, or Galaxy of Heroes, whatever the fuck their app, mobile game thing for Star Wars. They basically just went one to one from the other, and everyone just went, wait, is that it? There was a couple of people I ended up having to say to us, oh yeah, this is basically their Nintendo Treehouse segment. It's still EA Play, but also not. So it's yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, wait, was that it? It's okay, fine. But then the one question that very quickly came up was, where is Amy Hennig's Star Wars game? For those that remember, they remember that there was going to be Star Wars, 2033? 2233? Star Wars, it's basically the Star Wars Uncharted game that was advertised last year and the year before, that was going to be written by Amy Hennig. Amy Hennig being the writer, or the former writer, for the Uncharted games for Naughty Dog. She left Naughty Dog and going, I am going to work on this game. And then that was it. Ever since then, complete radio silence. And they talked about it last time, saying, we're doing this Amy Hennig Star Wars game. And then it said nothing. At all. Just nothing. So that's basically it. It's generally a mixture of apathy and disappointment, because it's the whole E3 conference, the whole EA conference this time was kind of boring more than anything else. It wasn't really not really that much there. They tried to push old stuff as innovation, which is more about the fucking time you brought that shit back, and not much else. No way out. It's basically, they spent a lot of time talking about sports. EA Madden, FIFA. No, it's, EA's Madden, FIFA, and NFL. No NHL this time. I think they might have realised that America doesn't like hockey. And basically the only people who really buy them are people who like hockey and Canadians. So, no NHL this time, but they spent a lot of time on NBA, Madden, a couple of mentions of NFL, and FIFA, a lot of time on FIFA. They made a big show of fucking Ronaldo. Again, I don't care. No Way Out looks fucking amazing. Anthem, BioWare's new IP, looks great. For the 30 seconds or 15 seconds they mentioned of it. That's going to be coming up tomorrow. I think with that, I'll leave it till tomorrow. You have Xbox and Bethesda tomorrow, 3 AM. Thank you, Bethesda, you bastards, for keeping me up till 3 AM.